The Summary of Knight's Tale, Part 1. Theseus, the Duke of Athens, was a powerful conqueror who defeated the Amazons and claimed their queen Hippolyta as his wife. On his way back to Athens from the victory, he comes across a group of grieving women. They inform him that their husbands were killed by King Creon, who refuses to let them recover the bodies for proper burial. Outraged by Creon's cruelty, Theseus vows to avenge the women. He immediately marches to Thebes, leaving Hippolyta and her sister Emily to proceed to Athens. Theseus defeats Creon, captures Thebes, and ensures the slain men are returned to their families as promised. Among the prisoners taken during the battle are two Theban knights, Arcite and Palamon, who are later confined in Athens. While in prison, Palamon sees Emily through his window one morning and falls deeply in love with her at first sight. Soon after, Arcite also catches a glimpse of her and falls equally in love. The two knights argue over who has the greater claim to her love. Later, Arcite is released from prison on the condition that he never returns to Athens. One of his friends actually helped him release. Despite his freedom, Arcite feels tormented because he can no longer see Emily, while Palamon, still imprisoned, envies Arcite's freedom. Back in Thebes, Arcite longs for Emily. One night, he dreams of Mercury, the messenger god, who instructs him to return to Athens. Disguising himself as a humble laborer, Arcite returns to city under the pseudonym Philostrate and becomes a servant in Emily's household. Over time, his skill and dedication earn him Theseus' trust and favor, and meanwhile, Palamon endures 7 long years of imprisonment before finally escaping. While hiding in the woods near Athens, he unexpectedly encounters Arcite, who is out hiding. Recognizing each other, Palamon challenges Arcite to duel for Emily's love. The next day, the two knights begin a fierce fight. Their duel is interrupted when Duke Theseus, out hunting with Hippolyta and Emily, stumbles upon the scene. Furious at their behavior, Theseus intends to execute them both. But the women plead for mercy, and moved by their appeals, Theseus instead proposes a tournament. In 1 year, Arcite and Palamon will return with 100 knights, each to compete for Emily's hand in marriage. Theseus spares no expense in preparing for the grand tournament. He constructs an impressive stadium which tiled seating for spectators and dedicates temples at each of its gates. Venus, goddess of love, at the east, Mars, god of war, at the west, and Diana, goddess of chastity, at the north. After the tournament approaches, Arcite and Palamon arrive with their respective knights, and Palamon prays at Venus' temple, asking for her help in winning Emily's love, and Venus sends a sign to assure him that his prayer is heard. Emily prays at Diana's temple, pleading to remain unmarried, but Diana tells her that marriage is one of the knights is inevitable. She has to marry. And meanwhile, Arcite prays at Mars' temple for victory in the tournament and receives a favorable sign as well. The god Venus, Mars, and Saturn intervene to balance their conflicting promises, and Saturn devises a plan to resolve the situation and honor the god's vows. In part 4, on the day of the tournament, excitement fills the air as spectators place bets and awaits the action. Theseus announces strict rules and certain weapons are prohibited and killing an opponent is forbidden. The battle is intense, with knights fighting valiantly for their leaders. By evening, Palamon is defeated, he is wounded and unhorsed, and Theseus declares Arcite the winner and fulfilling Mars' promise. However, as Arcite rides towards Emily in triumph, tragedy strikes. His horse throws him and causing a fatal injury. On the deathbed, Arcite bids farewell to Emily and Palamon, entrusting Emily to Palamon. Though deeply saddened, Theseus reminds everyone that after sorrow there should be joy. He arranges for Emily and Palamon to marry, and the two live happily ever after in love and harmony. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.